All right, so this is my presentation of Canon in D by Johann Pachelbel. And of course, my name is Cesar Calderon. Who was Johann Pachelbel? So Johann Pachelbel was a German Baroque, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, composer, organist, and teacher. He was born in 1653 in Nuremberg and died March 3, 1706. So they don't know exactly when he was born. They don't know the exact date that he was born. It is speculated that he was born in August, simply because he was baptized in September. So, right when September hit, he was immediately baptized, and that tells historians that he was probably born mid to the end of August. Um, Throughout his lifetime, he created a large amount of secular and sacred music during the Baroque era. He is well known for using basso continuo with a cello accompanied by a piano such as Canon in D. So Canon in D, it's they use a basic basso continuo that follows a series of solos from other instruments like the piano or another violin. Canon D became a very popular song to use during weddings, and I provided a YouTube video to my favorite. One of, no, this was not my favorite. This is one of the ones that I saw here in class. It's a good representation of how the song sounds. Description of his work. So Johann Pachelbel was a German composer from the early Baroque period of music. He wrote about 500 pieces, and it's known that he did a little bit over that. The types of compositions attributed to Pachelbel include canons, right? So he only wrote one canon, right, which is Canon in D. He wrote chamber music, fugues, toccatas, concertos, and that's just a few of the styles of work that he did, right? So mainly he did the chamber music. So Canon in D, right? So here's a video of it, and I'm gonna play it. It's just a 40-second clip, and then just please enjoy it, and you'll probably instantly recognize the melody. So here it goes. That's the basso continuo part. Pay attention to the cello. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so there it is. So the basso continuo provided by the cello is a clear indication of the Baroque era of music, right? Which is, as we learned in the class, basso continuo is it's a important characteristic to attribute to that era. If you listen to the dynamics of this song, dynamics meaning the volume and the change in accents of this particular piece, not song, piece, you can tell that it's sort of linear, right? It doesn't go loud. It's not particularly quiet. It's right in the middle, which is another characteristic of music from this era, right? So there wasn't a lot of drama, or it wasn't too dramatic. It was just linear, just right, right? And if you listen to this piece, or if you go online, I provided the link there, and you listen to this piece over and over again, like let's say you'll notice that it's kind of repetitive, right? So the basso continuo part is completely repetitive, and then you'll see that the piece is consonant. So what do I mean by consonant? So there's consonant notes or keys, and there's dissonant notes or keys, right? Dissonant is typically when a composer or a musician uses minor keys that don't sound pleasing to the ear, right? And they sound objectively, you might not like something that sounds dissonant, right? Consonant is something that's pleasing to the ear, right? So what Pachelbel did in this song, and he did it intentionally, is he made sure he used those certain keys that repeat and kind of sound like they're hitting home, and that's what makes it sound consonant and what makes most people enjoy it, right? Of course, this is a completely objective, but this is how you differ from consonant and dissonant sounds. And that's the major keys that repeat and then hit home, repeat and then hit home. And this is something that he did intentionally so you can enjoy this music. You can instantly recognize the timbre of the string quartet, right? When you know what the violin is, right? You instantly recognize when the violins come in, as opposed to the cello in the beginning playing by itself. And let me just replay it a little bit, right? So you can see how the cello plays first, then the violins come in, and you can instantly see the different or listen to the difference in timbre, right? So there's the cello, and you recognize it immediately, right? And that's the basso continuo part. It's the bass part, the lower notes, and then you instantly recognize it, right? So that's what I mean by the timbre, right? And by the way, yes, I did add the link right under the video. This is just a 40-second a snippet of it. So if you want to listen to it, there it is, right? So the history of Canon in D, right? So Canon in D is from the Baroque era, as we've already covered, which is from 1600 to 1750. It was composed around 1680. The actual date is unknown, but it is speculated that he wrote this song as the gift for Johann Sebastian Bach's brother's wedding, right? So around the 70s, right, it resurfaced and has since been used as a wedding composition, right? So most weddings that you attend now in the modern era will be playing Canon in D, right? And there's various forms in the modern era. My personal favorite is the rock version, right? Because I'm a big rock fan, and there's a composition by Jerry C that's very underrated in my opinion, right? And it's amazing what he did with this. And I put a link there if you guys want to see it. I love it. It's what got me to play guitar, right? But anyways, back to I digress. Back to the the history. It was made around 1680, and it again, right? It was speculated it was made as a gift for Johann Sebastian Bach's brother's wedding, which is why typically it's used at weddings, or it's at least it's speculated that's why it's used at weddings. And here's just as a side note, right? I provided this a snippet of my favorite version of Canon, right? So I'll play it. It's about 40 seconds as well. It's by Jerry C. He might be a little bit more effective if he tunes that guitar. It's a little off on that B string. Oh, yeah, it's a little off. Yeah, so there it is, right? That's Jerry C. As a side note, I put there at the bottom, this is what made me pick up the guitar 15 years ago. The style of music or genre. So Canadian chamber music, right, is meant to be played for a small, intimate crowd, which is probably another reason, besides the speculations of why it was made, why it's used at weddings. He avoided the repetitiveness of the song by utilizing various solos and melodic harmonic of the bass line all within the same key, right? So he kept those solos in the pocket, right? That's what I call it as a musician, and that's what my friends who are musicians call it. We call it staying in the pocket, right? And it's another way of saying hitting home, which is what I said earlier. You can play a solo over a bass line, and as long as you stay within that key or within that within the characteristics of that what is it called? It's not key, scale. Excuse my pause there. As long as you stay within the scale, whether it's minor or major. You can play some minor notes or some other notes, right, or seventh or suspended notes. But as long as you stay within the scale, it'll sound like it hits home. And it could also be considered a concerto, right, because it's got the basso continuo with various solos from either the violins and in some cases the piano. Facts about Pachelbel's Canon, right? So this was the only Canon composition. The actual name of the piece is Canon and Gig, um, which is it's not actually Canon D. The name of the piece, it's actually Canon and Gig. The bass plays the same 2-bar line throughout the whole piece, which is why the professor here showed us a video of the rant, right? The gentleman playing the guitar and making jokes about how it's so repetitive and it could get boring without an external solo from another instrument, right? But again, right, the piece sounds good because it utilizes a certain key signature that makes the notes feel like it hits home. And if it wasn't already obvious, it is called Canon in D because it is composed in D major. Anyways, that's it for my presentation. Here are the sources that I used. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.